Brooklyn here with two Geminis with mics. Just wanted to give you a quick disclaimer and a trigger warning. We are going to be talking about some very personal stuff to us. These are personal experiences. We aren't here to take away from anything or give advice. We are just speaking from our experiences and things that we have personally gone through. We are not doctors, we are not pain specialists, we are not therapists. We are just two beautiful humans going through the human experience, wanting to share it with you. Thanks for joining.
Hey everyone, welcome to Two Geminis with Mics, where no topic is off limits, and we're going to take you through a weird Gemini view of whatever topic we feel like. That's basically what's happening today. Today we've chosen to do a tarot pull. That's how we're deciding the subject. We have no preparation. We're going to pull a card. We're going to read you the technical explanation, and then we're going to kind of pull our topic from there. So, Brooklyn, do you want to do the honors?
Hi guys, it's us again. I tried doing something different and it just didn't work, so we're just gonna roll with the punches because
Yeah.
that's our most favorite way is rolling with the punches. And
And it's been a hell of a week, man. Like, this was a tough one, man. Like, I don't know when we're going to post this one, but first week of February, first 10 days has not been smooth. I was like, I'm not even styling my hair today. Screw this. I've got like 18 bobby pins in here, like just and like prayers.
prayers holding the hair together.
Yeah.
What else
What
can
does
we
Dolly
ask
Parton
for?
say? Hire the hair closer to God? Is that?
Yes, yes, yes. And in my culture, it's the higher the brow, the closer to creator.
Yeah, there you go.
That's
Love
why
it.
we point our brows to the gods, to creator, to spirit. Okay, so
Well, guess that's the one.
that one just popped right out. I love spirit. I
You
love when
didn't
this
even
kind of
try.
stuff
It
happens
was like,
because it's just like boop. This is the one today.
oh, no way. That's been following me around all week. Six of
Oh,
Wands. So, for those of you not watching the video version, the card that came out is Six of Wands. And without looking at the technical version, I would look at this as success. But there are, oh, she has her book. Okay, even better. Now, I would say some definitions between books can vary, so there could be a little bit between them. So just keep that in mind. But like when I look at that, I see success, but it can also represent arrogance if like not properly or well situated, I suppose, in the reading.
yes, yes. And the way that I've learned tarot is one tarot card can mean many different things, and it's what speaks to you. And for me, I personally, just because one, there's lots of information out there, two, I don't retain that information very well all the time. Sometimes I can pull it out, and sometimes it's gone, and I just got to
Oh,
relook
and
it up.
make sure you tell them. Do you know the name of the deck you're using?
The
Does it say
fountain.
anywhere? The Fountain Tarot. Okay, the Fountain Tarot. It just drives me nuts when I'm watching something. I'm like, I like that deck, and that person did not tell me it's nowhere. It drives me nuts.
Yes. Yes. And that's why I wanted to show the book because I feel like they do a deeper meaning, and that's why I like looking in the guidebook, but I also like looking at the broader meaning because sometimes that doesn't resonate with me and I have to go look for a deeper meaning. And when I read through it, something will just stick out at me and I'm like, that's what it's meant to mean for me and
I
in
went,
this moment.
yeah, I went through a phase where I obsessively read all the definitions. I looked at different like things. That's how I learned the basic definitions. That's kind of how I did astrology, besides the courses I did too. Like I got a little crazy. So I kind of like obsessively read the definitions and stuff. And then once those stick, now I find I'm doing a little more intuitive work because there's so much symbolism in tarot that like like that, there's a wreath on the Rider Waite version of this card. There's like a wreath, and that alone will mean something. The wands mean something. Like it's just so much in tarot.
Yes.
But anyway, I digress. I'll let you read it. Or
Yes.
do you want to read it?
It doesn't matter. You can read it. I just wanted to also say with tarot, I find that there is astrology also tapped
Oh
into
yes,
tarot.
very much so.
Um, exactly. Intuition, spirituality. I find it all comes together. Now, I know people that have studied astrology and don't need a reference, don't need a book, and they can just whiz it off of the top of their head. For me, I've been learning tarot since like 2019, and there's certain cards that really stick to me, and then other cards like the numbers. I also go with angel numbers as well. So I find for me, like I do angel numbers, tarot, and astrology within my readings. Those are the numbers that I stick with, and those are the things that have stuck with me.
Hmm. I think I started learning in almost said 2000. Yes, when I was 10 years old. No, 2020. Um, I got my first Rider Waite deck, and that's actually how I ended up in astrology. I was trying to learn that on YouTube, and then I found like the astro charts and that kind of learning both at the same time. I was like, how am I going to do all this? And that was like all I did for a long time because I was very deep in the healing journey, and I was like, it was a safe place space, right? Oh,
Mm-hmm.
also, I'm wearing a tarot card shirt. It says the
Little
Hermit.
hermit.
It's card number 9. Self reflection, healing journey, going within. Felt appropriate.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll read the. This is off of a website that I've used fairly often. It's called. I don't even know if I've ever tried to pronounce this. Le, Le, Labyrinthos? Yeah, you know which one I'm talking about. It's one of the first that'll come up if you Google anything, so we can put that in the um, description box, but I'll read it. So, Upright Six of Wands meaning is this particular card is all about public recognition, victory, and success. Sorry, I'm laughing because I can see where this is going. Not only have you managed to properly succeed in achieving all your goals, but you're also being publicly acknowledged for them and the result that you managed to attain. You may have received an award or some sort of public acclaim. The card is indicative that you have managed to harness the strengths and talents that you have within you in an attempt to bring a particular successful outcome in your life. You have managed to properly get through the confusion which is brought by the card before this one, the Five of Wands, and managed to properly minimize distractions, thus successfully focusing on your goals and achieving them. It's also worth noting that there's a slight downside apart from the overall positivity that stems from this card. It can bring self importance as well as egotistical behavior and arrogance. This would make you think that nobody is better than you. This could make you think that nobody is better than you. So, again, touching on the whole shadow and light thing and like the hilarity that this card is coming up after the week that we've had. it is it's been a doozy, guys. So I would say that this podcast is going to be about our week.
Yep.
Not maybe in
Depth.
gruesome detail, because I don't think that we can really do that. But she's laughing her ass off because she knows every gory detail of what happened this week.
Well,
But
and we were batting on the idea of talking about it, and we're like, well, I don't know if we're ready for that because that is touching on a lot of areas that aren't really ready for light.
yeah, I don't know. We don't know how heavy to go, how early, I think. Like, we don't want to frighten everybody.
But
But I guess,
this is life, and
yeah,
we are trying to be real and authentic, and that's why we're just like, let's leave it up to the cards. What do the gods have to say? And the
yeah,
gods are like, let's talk about it.
let's do it. It's Pluto and Aquarius season, guys. I ain't screwing around. That's literally what this feels like. And if you like, so how can we go about this without straight up airing my dirty laundry that I'm not able to air? I
Well,
guess this
and
would kind
just
of the success of it, really, because in the end, like I learned some. major lessons this week. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, personally, I
Mhm.
don't know about you. How have you been
Well,
feeling?
mine was just ego. Stepping
Mm,
away from my
yes.
freaking ego, man. Like, it is hard sometimes, and you just get so caught up in your own life and your own stickiness that you can't see what other people are going through, and you're so caught up in your own. And
Yeah.
then when you do take a step back and be like, "Okay, I'm not the only one going through stuff. Brooklyn, calm down. Other people, the world is still spinning. Just because it's just me going through my little stuff doesn't mean there isn't other people going through their own thing." And whoa, did that get completely awakened and opened up my eyes to being like, calm down, calm
Watch your mute
down.
button.
Oh, right. Thank you.
You're so close.
So close there. Oh my God. But, like, you know what I mean? Like, it was just I
Yeah.
you just think that the whole world you're the apple of everyone's eye, and the world just revolves around you, and then you get woken up and you're like, "Nobody's paying attention to me."
And like I think it's like a real problem in the world that people just have no concept of what other people are going through or that they could be going through something else. And like I'm not saying I'm not guilty of that myself. You know what I mean? Like I've got my problems. This week I was up for a monetary increase at work and I unfortunately did not get it. There are a lot of things that I'm not comfortable talking about in regard to it, but what I will say is I learned a valuable lesson. I think a lesson to step outside of yourself and maybe not assume that you're a shoe in for something. But also, when you're not a shoe in for something, to accept that and accept it with as much grace as you can and kind of just make the best out of it. So, because this monetary increase, this raise was not available for me this week, I did find a new thing that I'm becoming obsessed with, which is like budgeting. Like the TikTok budgeters and the YouTube budgeters, my God, these people are like, they're sharing a lot of personal information. And I just got to say, like, good for you guys because, like, it's given me a little bit of hope that, like, I don't make a lot of, mm, I do okay. I don't make as much as the rest of the people that I know. Let's put it that way. Right? Why are you laughing at me?
Well, because there's also me over on the other side of it where I make, like, quarter of what you make.
Yeah. Right? And
And,
like that's
like,
just the thing.
but we also live in, like, different
Completely.
areas.
And we do
So
have very different bills too, right? Like at this point in our
yes.
lives, right?
Yes, and
So like
it's so funny because, like, we kind of complain about similar things, but in different
yeah.
aspects-ish, because we
Yeah.
both complain about money sometimes, like,
Everybody does though, right? Like I
true,
mean,
and
I
especially in
feel
this
like the
day and
system's
age, and,
designed
like,
for us to just like you know, like it is just not the best system.
it isn't.
Nowhere. Nowhere
It
in this
isn't.
on this earth, I don't think.
And it's just like, for me, I've always been told, just because of my family and stuff like that, like, there's certain things where you can budget, and that's normally in food. And how you budget in food is you buy bulk, or you meal plan, and you
I would like to say now I didn't never budget. I just didn't exactly budget. I tried and I've gotten bad over the last few years spending a little bit beyond my means, so I'm trying to like go backwards now. But like when I moved out, I had my budget and now the cost of living has gotten to the point where I'm like and I also have a dog now. So like it's vet bills, it's pet food, it's and I'm spoiling my dog, guys. Like I don't want to feed him any of that shitty puree. That's just me though. Like that's up to other people. Um,
Mhm.
But yeah, sorry, I cut you off, Brooke.
Well, and when we don't have children, like that's the thing is we are in our 30s. We don't have children. We have different lives than other people that I know. So
Yeah.
for me, I I spend a lot of my money on traveling. Like I really like to travel. I um like that's where a lot of my money and stuff goes or to just regular bills. But a lot
Mhm.
of the times like for me and I'm learning like the past couple of years I've been learning about saving and the importance of saving because growing up I was never taught that and
Yeah.
it's really interesting because this has been a theme in my family for the past 10 years where money has been the focal point. And before it was made as a bad or an evil thing. And now I'm changing my relationship with money and I'm starting to see it as a good thing and as a it's not it can be used for evil, but it also can be used for good. And it's
Mhm.
just that it's switching your perception of it and making
And
it a non-evil thing.
yeah, and I think for me, the wanting to crack down on this budget and know like where every dollar is going, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that's my goal here is just to be like, I need to get a better idea of what the hell I'm doing because like how do you survive in this climate? You know what I mean? Like I'm responsible for my own bills. Like I'm not saying that I don't have family that will help me if I'm desperate, but like that's a blessing that a lot of people are afforded, and I'm very aware of that, and I grew up very differently from other people. I've been very lucky in that way, and I will not
Mhm.
deny that. Um, but it's also respecting your money, and I have
Yes.
this, like I feel like if you can learn to respect and appreciate the dollar that you're making, that could be really useful towards manifestation, which we haven't
Yeah.
really touched on a lot here, but, like, like, I think that, like, looking at my money instead of treating it like it's coming in and going right back out, it's like, "Okay, this is going here, and I'm saving for this, and I've got enough money saved for Fred's grooms for the year," or you know what I mean? Like, it's because 'cause he's got a very high maintenance coat. I chose
Yes.
a oh, by the way, Fred's my dog, not my boyfriend.
We should mention we have dogs.
He's a
I
golden
have
doodle.
I have an Odie, she has a Fred.
I was like, "Man, I really gotta say that before I start saying his name because 'cause I've told stories about him before, and people are like, 'Is this your boyfriend?'" No. No. It's a very fluffy 60-pound golden doodle that I cuddle like nobody's business. Best
Yep.
thing that ever happened to me. Pain in the
Yep.
ass, but I love him.
Yep.
Um,
Dogs are like the best emotional support we
oh
could have ever
god,
asked for.
right? Oh my god. I think he was also, like, a really big, like, wake-up call for me because it was, like, watching him react to my anxiety when I didn't realize I had such bad anxiety was like, "There might be something wrong here." Anyway, getting back to the 6 of Wands because I feel like we veered off into, like, money, which is a little more pentacle.
But money is
Success in our environment, in our world.
and
In a
I
lot of ways.
find right now money is our 6 of wands. Like we are learning to not have the ego mind with money. We are trying to make
Be
it
creative. Successful
yes.
creativity
Yes.
um, instead of successful finances, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Like, this has been a very fulfilling project. We're only on, like this is our 3rd successful recording. I don't know when you guys are gonna see it, but, like, we're just doing it, right? We're just trying to have fun, and it's been fun, and I think
Um,
that's also part of it, right? The 6 of Wands is creativity, and it's feeling like you've accomplished something and reaching that line and, like, having people lift you up is the vision on the typical card that you see, you know what I mean? Like,
mhm.
there's a celebration going on in that card, like, I mean, don't let it go to your head, but
Well, and like the victory of it all and like I feel like We are getting there. We're finally able to do this, even though with all of the challenges that have come up and the roadblocks that have come up this week, we are still able to sit down for an hour and do this podcast because we found that it's important to us and it gives us a sense of purpose. And not just that, we really like it. And
Yeah, it's something out of our day-to-day monotony,
yeah,
right?
definitely.
And like this is not something typically I would have the space to do. So I think that also brings us back to success and healing and the things that you change, right? Like
Sorry.
are you okay over there?
Yes. My thing was
Um,
just like dragging, and all I could hear was my headphones. And I'm like, oh my God, that is
oh, I
awful.
already dragged my headphones across this mic at least once. So I hope you all enjoyed that little treat.
Wasn't your nails this time.
Yeah, I had to chop my nails off because like this one, like straight up, like almost came off on its own, and I was like, I had to glue it. I had to cut it down as far as I could and then glue it because I was like, I can't cut it anymore. So they've got little
Oh,
stubbies for a while. I didn't even paint them. That's my week though. It's just been crazy.
it's literally been a week of chaos and just like one thing after another. And then being a woman on top of it all has just been
Right? I've been
because,
exhausted.
yeah. And it's just like a reminder that we just have to keep chugging along no matter what is thrown our way.
Yeah.
And we are
And
still here and still doing it.
yeah, and I think the challenges people face as women, and I say people because our version of women is all women.
Yes.
So that includes LGBTQ and all. So if you don't
Yep.
like that, then maybe this isn't the place for you.
We
I
are
hope
here for the
you,
queer, lesbians, trans,
right? But there's,
all races, all colors, it doesn't matter. We are here for
yeah,
humanity. And
and we
even if
can't,
you are a gay man that enjoy our company, we
please come.
love the gays
Please
as
come and
well.
join us.
I have
Yeah.
lots of gay friends.
I mean, we can't speak on the female transgender issues because neither of us are transgender, but like we can speak on the cis female experience, and that alone like includes so much pressure from the outside world, and it requires. We did not put a trigger warning at the beginning of this. So I'm going to say it now because we're going to go into some things that are a little bit heavy. So if you have sexual assault in your history, if you have sexual harassment, it might be too heavy for you. And right now might be the time to turn off.
Hmm.
But I think also Six of Wands is success in, because it can represent passion and things like that as well. It's a very fiery card, right? The Six of Wands. And maybe it's success over overcoming obstacles too. Like that's what the five is. Five is like competition and things. And like this week has forced me to take a look at the amount of times I've been sexually harassed in my life. And I'm at like at least three. And like, I know that's probably a low number. That's not including like sexual trauma. I have my own sexual trauma. I'm sure we'll get into it one day, but today is not the episode. Um, but like, you do all these things and you just keep fighting, and it's you will always. I've learned that the victim almost constantly will feel like they're blowing it out of proportion every single time
Yeah.
because I feel that every single time.
Yeah. Well, and we also, from a very young age, I have been taught to not tattle. Don't tattle. Don't don't
And
be one of those
we're here to
people.
tell you to settle.
And like for me, it was always I'm too much. I'm too loud. I'm too this, I'm too that. And uh, that was like my younger years and in my early adulthood years was
I didn't mean to make that face. Friggin' apple, man. And for those of you who are listening to the audio version, there's this automatic thing that I think Apple does or the FaceTime does or when you're
And I
on video and it'll just put these air bubbles with like a thumbs up or like throw these hearts out when you accidentally triggered it and we still haven't figured out how we're triggering it. And it's always
well,
Brooklyn.
it's thumbs up, thumbs down, two thumbs up, and a heart shape. Like one's like thumbs up, and then they did like the thingy, and then one's
What a
thumbs
terrible
down.
timing too. We're talking.
See, and it's not every time, it's just whenever it feels like. It's just like Siri. Siri's only activated when she feels like it, not all the time. That's why I turned
Siri
that
makes
thing
her own
off.
decisions. She is a strong, independent woman. You leave her
She is.
alone.
She is. She is a very, and that is why I don't turn her on, because I'm like,
All right. Oh, God.
but yeah,
Anyway, what were you saying before we so rudely got interrupted?
I can't even remember the
We were
whole.
talking about something really serious.
I know. That just like that's just us in a
Oh,
nutshell. We'll like be on something serious and then something that's
yeah.
just that's our humor. It's
Yeah.
literally this is like
It
us
is what
day
it
to
is.
day. Something will happen and we'll be like on
We're
a
gonna say dating.
serious.
I was like, I mean. Anyway.
We'll be on a serious topic and then all of a sudden something funny will come in and we'll be like, boop, change directions.
Yeah, it's gone. It's gone. That was literally like a squirrel moment, and it was so serious. Like, we don't mean to make light of those situations whatsoever. Like, we are also victims.
But
So,
also, coming from an indigenous background, we find humor in our like this is why like I honestly think this is why a lot of indigenous people are so funny is because of the amount of horrific things we've had to overcome our whole entire lives that we just find humor in it cuz to me this is what I've always said, if I don't laugh I will cry. So
no, seriously. I said that to my dad like literally this morning. He was like, "Are you kidding?" I can't even remember what I messaged him. He was like, "Are you kidding me?" I was like, "Dad, all you can do is laugh at this point." And this is why I have a Tim's. My saint of a Gemini moon father brought me two Tim Hortons today. Just like
yep.
this
And
world's
it's
he's too good for this world, I've decided.
well, and it's the little things that make us happy like when we're having a down day and someone brings us a tea or some like when it's just like those small things just make you feel appreciated and important in your small little bubble like we were talking about cuz we think that we are everyone's big entire world and we are not. We are our own big entire world and that's where I found a lot of growth especially in this past week was um my dad was going on a trip and I I realized that I'm not losing my biggest support but like I'm like, what if something happens and I need my dad? Like, I like, he's not like a little drive away. Like, I can't just drive over to his house and be like, Dad, help me with this. He's literally going to go be in a different country for a couple months. So I'm just like,
Yeah,
literally here to
exactly.
fend for myself. And I know that sounds hilarious and funny because I'm 33 years old and I should be able to do this on my own. But
No, it takes a village, and I think that the fact that we're taught that it doesn't is rude. Because
well,
it
and like,
does.
well, and for me, growing up, I've found that my biggest I don't have a lot of friends, but my family is everything to me.
Oh, same. Yeah.
Yeah, and like that's like me and Keisha, like that's why I find we're so close is because we realize how important our family is. And I realized that moving from province to province. Like when I was 16, 17 years old, I moved away from my small little town to like 16 hours away. And when I moved away, it was the first 2 years when I realized that all my friends weren't really my friends. And then I
Oh,
was like, "Oh."
I think a lot of
okay.
people find that too with like massive life changes, like whether that's moving, whether that's having a baby, like and like
Mm-hmm.
or quitting drinking or like so many different things that they no longer and then they find out that these people are just gone.
Yep. And that's not, they weren't as big a support as you thought they were.
Yeah.
And in my life, I've gone through that so many different times where and this is like going back to holding people on pedestals, where I would hold these people on pedestals and think that I would give them anything and everything and think I would get the same in return. And not
Yeah.
that I expected it, but when I would call and ask to go on like a coffee date or see this person and they wouldn't reply or would get back to me weeks later, I'm like, okay, well, now I know that I don't mean that much to you. So I'm
Yeah.
not going to put in that much effort, because I would rather put that effort into someone that is willing to put that much effort into me as well. And I don't
I low
expect
key sorry, keep going.
and I don't expect like everyone to be like that, but I just, when I have close friends to me, I want similar efforts put in, you know?
Yeah, I low key fell off the face of the earth the last few years doing EMDR. So the people that stuck around and like checked on me and were okay when I said that like I literally am doing the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, so like don't expect to see me. Those are the people that are still in my life now. And like
Mhm.
not that there were people that like I came out of that and I was like I haven't heard from these people in a long time and I was reaching out and then it got to a point it's like what do you do? You know what I mean? Like, you can't force people to talk to you, and I'm completely fine if somebody doesn't wanna be a part of my life, like, communicate that. If you don't wanna hear from
Mhm.
me, communicate that. I'm okay, I'm an adult, I'm a big girl, I can handle it,
Mhm.
right? Like, it is what it is, and, like, I don't know. It all gets kind of a little bit crazy, right? And, like, I think, sorry, I've lost my thought. It's gone,
It's okay.
it's gone. I don't know.
Bloop.
Bloop.
Off into the universe.
Yeah, just gone. It was there.
Well, and like for me, my one of my realizations last year was thinking putting people into friends and acquaintances.
Sorry, I just had a friggin' epiphany. Okay, okay,
Ooh,
okay. So where you were talking about people being put on pedestals, this is was the thought. Have you heard of limerence?
limerence.
I'm gonna read. I gotta Google the definition because I don't want to get it wrong. But this is something that I've learned very recently. Um, sorry, why does everybody decide to text me when I'm busy? My phone is the quietest thing on the face of the planet. Okay, limerence. It's a state of mind which results from romantic or non romantic feelings for another person and typically includes intrusive, melancholic thoughts or tragic concerns for the object of one's affection, as well as a desire to form and maintain a relationship with the object of love and to have one's feelings reciprocated. It can also be defined as an involuntary state of intense desire for someone marked by intrusive thoughts and a desire for a relationship or reciprocation. And one thing is this can actually be used to distract your brain when like almost like a any type of escapism. So like
Yeah.
limerence is very common. It is something I struggled with in all of my romantic relationships that did not respond or reciprocate. And it
Mm-hmm.
has been something that has been like trivial in my recent healing and relationship healing. And I think that that is it can be a bit obsessive, and I think a lot of women have this and we're taught that it's normal.
Well, and that was like my thing was I was constantly putting in effort into other people instead of myself. I was constantly looking for love outside of myself, then from within. And then once I started diving in deep, and I know last year I had a really hard time with this because I'd go in and out of ego. I would go, oh my God, I'm so obsessed with myself. But then I'd get to eat, I just spat everywhere. I would get too
Okay, nobody's in
egotistic.
front of you.
Good thing.
Glance on the screen. Ew.
Wipe it out.
Disgusting. I love it.
But
Nothing
like,
is worse than working in customer service and somebody spits on you and you got to pretend like it didn't happen. Well, this is what I used to do. I mean, now I think I'd just be like,
I've literally had someone
you
spit
know,
in my mouth while talking,
oh no.
and that was like during COVID. And I literally went
Oh my
home.
god,
It was like
too.
the week before, and I literally went home and I'm like, I'm quarantining myself. Some old man spit in my mouth, blah blah blah. And he was like, he didn't mean to. Like, you know
No,
how old men
no.
get flat, like they're like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was
I've
just.
had I've had somebody like literally spit right here and I was like, if I was wearing my glasses today, let me tell you.
And during
But
COVID when we had the spit guards,
oh, they would not get me a spit guard at my job. I don't even want to talk about it. But anyway, I ended up working from home, so it didn't matter. But at that time, I was pissed. And then
yeah.
after that, they just locked the door, so it didn't matter. But yeah, right. So it's funny.
I love how we
But
totally got off topic again.
oh my god, and this time I don't remember. We were talking about limerence.
Limerence
Uh,
and self acceptance and love.
oh my god, self worth. This is my
Mm,
first year with self worth. My 34th year is my first year with self-worth.
literally last year, that was like,
And it's still hard to hold on to. Don't get me wrong. This is like a conscious practice for me every day is like, am I
yes,
putting my worth in other people's hands?
yes. My thing was that. And like I said, just like the ego part of it. Cause like once you get to a place where you can love yourself and not worry so much about other people,
Yeah.
it becomes really hard to not be obsessed with yourself. And that was the trick. It was like, okay, just, and it's like, it's a slippery slope because
Well,
there's not a lot
I think
of
there's a way to
training.
have confidence, and I think there's a way to have self-worth without it getting arrogant.
Mm,
But the
mhm,
problem is being a woman, it's so easily seen that way, even though we're not doing anything much different than the way a male would. You know
mhm.
what I mean? Like, I went into one of my meetings this week and I told dad, I was like, well, I'm gonna get called a bitch, but I ain't doing anything wrong. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and that's literally it. It's like, I'm gonna stand up for myself and I know I'm gonna be called it. Like, they're gonna be like, man, what a bitch. All right.
Literally. And like
Like,
that's the thing
fine.
is that like we are named all these things. Like when I was going through that self-discovery and that self-love and that acceptance, people were like I I got a lot of judgment from it and I could see it.
And
And
you can't let that hit you because it's like, this is exactly why we don't try to love ourselves. Because
well,
people want you not to.
what made me realize was that's just a reflection of how they see themselves. And with that growth, that gave me a lot more acceptance for other people. And not that I would put myself down, but I would come from a place of understanding and help people recognize how I've gained my self worth. It's not overnight. I didn't go, oh my God, I'm pretty. It took a lot more than that. Like, I
It takes
understand.
so much
Well, and that's the
sometimes.
thing is like being a woman and then being pretty are two separate things. When you have the pretty privilege that we do, we get like, oh, well, you're pretty, so blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, well, because I'm pretty, I've had some pretty horrible things happen to me
I
and
had
then
somebody
been
ask me one
blamed
time.
for
Right.
it.
Yeah. I had
Like,
somebody ask me one time who was like, would you give up your pretty privilege if it meant every woman was equal? I was like, yeah. I,
yes.
I didn't choose to have pretty privilege. I have it. But like, would I let go of that to give other people? Yes.
Yep.
I was like, what are you even asking?
Yep.
What? But that's
And
not even in my control. So like, what is this question?
well, and like that's the thing is like people think that it's a gift or that it's, oh, you're so lucky. And it's like, for
And this,
so many years, I didn't think I was pretty at
yeah,
all.
exactly. I just thought that I was like, all right. You know what I mean? Like I did not allow myself because I was so scared of being perceived as ignorant. And I can honestly
Mhm.
say I've never intentionally used my beauty to get what I wanted. I have seen it happen and
I'm not gonna lie, I have.
I've never intentionally done it myself. Like she's like, I just Brooklyn's hand went up for those of you not watching the video. We're honest here. We're not whatever, right? But like
But
it's just
that's what I'm
funny.
learning, and, like, it's just learning to hone that in and not use it for evil. This is my 30s, is I am trying to
I
use
didn't
my
mean to
pretty
snort.
privilege
It's just
for good.
yeah, like, oh my God. But like, I really want to point something out astrologically because I gotta say, a lot of people did love our astrology talking. I got a lot of comments. So I do want to say one thing about astrology because we're talking about beauty and we're talking about limerence and Venus is the planet of love, right? And then Valentine's Day is coming up. This probably won't be posted till after, but like there's going to be a Pluto Venus conjunction in early Aquarius. So I think the fact that we're talking about a limerence, which to me could be very Pluto Venus, because Pluto can be obsession and it can be a lot of the dark, stalkery, obsessive things.
Mhm.
And then you've got the planet of love. So I think it's really interesting that that got brought up today, and we're getting super close to that conjunction in the next probably week and a half. So it's probably making some vibes.
I
And
love it.
isn't that cool? Anyway, so I just wanted to bring that up. And
You're like, "My little astrology, here it
I
is,
can't
here
help
it
it. I can't help it.
is."
It was I went off on Brooklyn last night on her chart, and she was just I don't think she's ever let me do that before. Not intentionally, we've just never done it. We did it once.
We've
We did it
done
once.
we've done, like, a chart reading, but we haven't done the
Zodiacal releasing,
that's the one, that's
which we're
the
not even gonna get
one.
into, guys. That is like
That's another
uh,
deep dive of other
that's
craziness.
that's something I
Beautiful
can't even start to
craziness.
explain. Like, I don't even understand it yet.
We're learning. Like I said, we are learning, we are in the learning process. We know we are not masters, but that is
Yeah,
the goal, is one day to be a master.
hopefully. I mean, right? That's all you can do. But like sometimes I just like get in the zone and like stuff will just like come to my brain. I'm like, this is what this is. Love
Mhm.
it.
I know.
But anyway, that was my little digression because I was like, I have astrology things. Uh,
Venus, I can feel her.
this is created.
Well, and
I
I
have
love
a,
how
oh,
it all just, like, trines together.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
beautiful.
You mean comes together?
Yes. Yes.
Because I was like, trine's a different thing. We're going on a conjunction this week or next week. I don't even
Yeah,
know.
next
I
week,
just know it's
next week.
February, and I'm
Mhm.
like, yeah. So if y'all are feeling triggered, and it's the first week of February, just mind yourself, because I think we're
Mhm.
all gonna be feeling triggered for a while. Pluto is kind of a triggering planet, and we're gonna be feeling all of those for the first time
But
uh,
it's
in a long
bringing
time.
it up so we can make transformations in our lives.
Yeah,
This is why I love Pluto so much, is because it helps us see what we need to change to be comfortable. It's
I
bringing
wouldn't
up
say I
all the
love, but this is coming from somebody who just had it transit her eighth house of like mental health and shit for like how long was it in there? 14 years in
but
Capricorn
that's
or
the thing,
something?
is it's coming out and
20?
you've done so much work, and like
It's
your
exhausting.
lows are getting so quick. Like it's just
Oh
happening,
god.
and we're the lows are dipping and we're just going on top and staying up higher for longer. That's how
I
I
feel like I could
feel
nap for a
anyway.
week though.
What?
I feel like I could nap for a week though.
Well, I always feel like I could nap for a week, but
Yeah. That can be normal. Is that how everybody feels? Like
No, I feel like that's iron. We probably just need iron. That's probably to do with Indo as well.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I've never had low iron levels, which is weird. Remember, I was put on iron pills once, but I don't even think my blood works. That was a bad doctor. Like, watch your doctors, guys.
Well, and like, isn't that like an Indo thing? I
Well, it
thought
could
that was
be.
an Indo
It could
thing, is
be.
like
If
the
somebody's like
majority
a
of us.
well, if somebody's like a heavy bleeder, right? When
Yeah.
you could deplete, yeah. But I was never really. That wasn't really my issue. I had
Oh,
other host of issues. A lot of people do, though.
that's interesting. Well, I was going to say something gross, but I'll just skip over that. Indo is also just a gross disease, so just
All
be
of them are
prepared for
gross.
that. We're gonna talk about some gross stuff.
We'll try to warn them, but like
We did.
it just
We're
kind of
gonna put.
happens.
Yeah, I know. We're gonna put trigger warnings on the beginning of it anyway, because
Yeah, we gotta do that soon because like we really need to do that. But
But yeah, where
oh
should
my
we
God,
veer on to?
Fred's sleeping in his bed like right over there, and he's just like passed out. He had the best time today. I gave him a brush, and then
Aw.
I took him for like the best walk, and now he's
Aw.
asleep. Anyway, that was a digression, but um, yeah, I just it's been a week, and if you felt like I just exhaled into my friggin' microphone directly, so sorry, all of you. Um,
You're good.
yeah. Anyway, it's been a week. We made it through, and it's going to be a few more weeks. So just watch your triggers, guys. Breathe through it. Try not to scream at anybody.
And just
Mm,
remember, we are all human going through our own human experiences.
my God.
And like, I know what I'm going through. I know some of what Keisha's going through. And between us, like, if this is what we're going through, I can't imagine what the rest of the world's going through.
This
Because we're
isn't
on,
even
like,
eclipse season.
that's what I mean. And like you just said a couple weeks, and I was like, a couple months. I'm pretty sure we're in heavy stuff until April.
Yeah, like I
but
forgot.
it's for a reason.
Yeah, we're gonna go
It's
through
for
all of
healing.
this,
I keep
and
spitting.
then
Why?
and then March is eclipse season, isn't it? The first one's in March, and then the second one's in
End of
April.
March.
Okay. And if you ever want to do like really easy astrology on your chart, find out where the eclipses are. Right now they're in Libra and Aries, and find where those houses are in your chart. So it's somewhere 1 through 12. You just got to find Aries and Libra. And then if you look up the topics of those houses online, like what are the topics? What are the topics for the house 5? And then it'll be like big endings and big beginnings in these things. So, I mean, if you've got like the 12th house, please don't panic. I just went through one of those and it wasn't easy, but like please pardon that. I've got a bit of
Well, and like I know this saying is kind of cliche and just kind of overdone, but also this is like one of the sayings that have gotten me through so much. And I know nowadays it's not really looked at very good, but for me, because of all the stuff that I've gone through in my life, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And the only reason why for me that's so important is because in my younger years, I got sick a lot, and it's really interesting. Me and Keisha both had mono when we were children. And for a lot of you that don't know what mono is referred to the kissing disease. So
I
I
would
went
like to
through that.
say I got mono before my first kiss.
I definitely had it after, but I was also in grade 6 and I was just kissing all the boys in grade 6. Pretty sure grade 2, grade 1 and
You
grade
were a
2.
little shit, man. You were
That's when I started
Libra.
kissing all the boys.
I'm a Libra.
Definitely Libra Venus, like,
Yeah,
oh my god.
yeah. I've got a Pisces Venus, so I love the red flags. Like it
I
takes
create
work to
them.
learn to not run towards those red flags. What'd you say?
I said I create them.
God, I like some of the red flags I'm running towards. Some of these men's, I'll tell you, like they. But
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah, one of
like
our
this.
sayings used to be Six Flags more fun.
Yeah, yeah. Like I look back and I dated all my 20s and like I've just stopped because because I'm like, this is exhausting. I'm
Toxic.
happier alone at this point. This is freaking exhausting. And like,
Well, and then you did healing, and then you
yeah.
tried the dating, and you were just like, well, these men are not on the same path as me.
I was like,
If
oh my
I'm putting in
God.
the work, I want a man that puts in the work.
Yeah, I was like, I can't deal with this, man. This is just they're just so I don't
Unruly.
have the words because it's not all men. I know it's
It
not.
isn't.
I truly believe that you can't judge one group of people on one thing that you're noticing them do. But like, oh my God,
Well,
these
and
red
like,
flags.
yeah, and that's another part of our healing journey is we know that we also have our own red flags. We are not just calling men out because oh, we love doing that. But also, we know we come with a bag of tricks as well.
Oh
We
my
know
God.
we are not and that's like our thing is we are constantly trying to better ourselves
Yeah.
to be better humans
I've
for humanity.
And like part of getting away from the red flags is like learning your own red flags and why you're
Mhm.
attracted to the other red flags and like taking responsibility in the shitty relationships. Like I'm not saying that like anybody deserves like pardon me abuse of any kind. I've experienced my own manipulations and different things in relationships and that was a narrative within myself that I had to take responsibility for and heal. But like my therapist even I was like, what about we were talking about like some of my exes and like taking responsibility for some of these things. And I was like, what about this one? This one was especially terrible. Like, do I have and she's like, all of them. All of them. I was like,
Yep.
no, I don't want to do
And I
that.
and I think that was the hardest thing, but also the most rewarding thing was accepting that we allowed that behavior to happen, not just one time, but over and over and over again. And also, for me, I played into it a lot. I because I was a victim from a very young age, I played the victim card and I played into that. And oh, I'm just a victim, blah, blah, blah. I'm just a girl, blah, blah, blah. And then it was just like, okay, I'm 25 and still playing the victim card. I'm 25, still doing this, still doing that. And then it's just like, hey, something has to change. And then over that, it was just slow growth until my 30s. And
Yeah.
then once it was my 30s, it was just like, a huge wake up call and being like, okay, I keep saying these things, but not taking the steps or actions to change it.
Yeah. And I want to speak on the victim thing because they're like this is not to negate anybody's experiences as a victim of any type
Definitely.
of abuse, whether
Hmm.
that be sexual, physical, mental, emotional, whatever. Like that's not to it's just that when these things happen, we can choose to heal from them or we can allow the pattern to keep repeating in our lives.
Yes.
And like we
Yes.
will keep making sure that that pattern and that narrative is a thing that is true in our brain one way or the
Hmm.
other. And then
Hmm.
learning those narratives helps you break out of said cycles. So like that I got
Yes.
to 30 and was like, why are all my relationships shit? Oh, something that happened to me as a kid has defined my entire life and it needs healing,
Hmm. Yeah.
right?
And for me, it was just like sexual abuse was just like, oh, well, I was sexually abused. So I can act this way and blah, blah, blah. And then it was just taking that back and being like, okay, let's heal this and move from it and see what can happen. And it was once I stopped hiding it and putting it in the closet, that's
Yeah.
when it started healing and it just it just like blossomed and I started healing and not only
Yeah.
healing me but healing people in my family. And
Yeah.
that was huge
Yeah.
because being one indigenous and being a woman, those two things like my family comes from a long lineup and a long history of sexual abuse. And like my elders are too, they don't talk about it. And it's just to be, we don't talk about those things. And that was one thing that I really, really, really wanted to change, was the stigmatism around it and being ashamed. Stigma, thank you. Oh my God.
Astigmatism is an eye thing.
It's because I found out
Yeah,
I
you do
have
have
one.
astigmatism.
I found out last night.
We were talking about it. That's why I knew what you were saying.
I found out last night I need glasses and I'm not okay with
Hey, I've had
it.
glasses since I was 12. It's fine, I promise.
No, it's the expense. I can't afford it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no. I have
That's why
not
it's
bought new
like
glasses in
another
3 years for that
thing.
reason.
Because I
Yeah.
just started driving and I
Oh, yes.
don't drive at night. Because
Which was
one,
a
it
big deal for
scares.
Brooklyn, so we will celebrate
Yes.
that.
Yes. Thank you. Thank
That
you.
was, I'm seriously so proud, girl. That was
Yep.
fantastic.
And then another thing is I don't really like driving in snow, and I'm Canadian, so these are two hard things to overcome.
But natural, because they're terrifying.
They are. Driving in a blizzard is just
No, it's not
unnatural
fun.
to me.
Yeah,
Like,
it's not cool.
who decided this? Who decided that this was okay? Because to
The
me,
worst is when you can't get the snow and it starts freezing. It's like melting and freezing, and like your wipers are getting screwed up, and like you're just blind, and you're like, if I was home, I wouldn't have left, but it started while I was gone.
literally, it's just driving in Canada is psychotic to me. And
Yeah, it's a little messed
I
up.
can't believe we're about to add flying cars. I'm really excited. The Jetson dream has been my dream for life, and I'm
That's
I'm
very
here for
early
it.
on, though. Like we're just hitting Pluto and Aquarius, so this is gonna be weird time. I think
The
like
next
it
20 years.
also like, man, I'm
My
nervous
lifetime.
about the amount. God, at least you got license now, so now you just gotta get your flying car license. Oh my
Well,
God,
no,
that's terrifying, Brooklyn.
they're all automated, so it'll be
Oh,
androids driving us. So that is
okay.
also another
That
fun
is
thing.
another thing I would like to touch on as far as Venus and Pluto, because like we're gonna go through this period where like body dysmorphia is gonna get so much worse for women and men and young people because of all this AI editing and shit. Like there's a good side to AI. Don't get me wrong. There can be a good side.
But but I feel like because we've already gone through of this not that long ago, like the 2000s. Look at early 2000s. Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, Kelly
Clarkson?
yes, Kelly Clarkson. Sorry. I was
Oh,
like
like, I don't know.
the one that I just spoke her words or her song or whatever. But all of these people have gone what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Isn't that one of her
Oh,
songs?
yeah, it was. Yeah, okay. That was one of me like, okay. I was like,
Like early 2000s.
yeah, like, well, that was 2010s, I think, because I can pinpoint the boy I was dating because I was like,
I thought I still lived in BC, but anyway, it's an older song. Now I
yes,
can't even remember. But I feel like because we've already gone through body dysmorphia, now I really hope we heal from it. This is like one of the reasons why I want a big
it takes
stage right
awareness
now.
though,
It does.
right?
This
It
is
takes
why
a
I
lot of
want a big
awareness.
stage, is because, and that's like why I'm going for all of these contests right now, is
Yeah,
because I have suffered from anorexia. I have suffered from binge eating. I have suffered from fasting. I have I've
diet
over
culture.
yeah,
Really unhealthy
I
diet culture.
literally. And it was around endometriosis, it was around being a woman, it was around a whole bunch of things. And I really hope that we've grown from that, because like from as long as humans have been around, there's been issues of that, because Marilyn Monroe Marilyn Monroe went
But
through something very similar as well.
yes, but I mean the editing portion, because this is how it's gonna get. People can take their videos, their TikTok videos, add hips, make their waist smaller, make their boobs bigger, change their facial structure, change their hair color, like they can literally, there's almost no limit to this editing. And that's where I'm getting on it. Like, like that is like to me too far, because it's like, why can't people just be allowed to feel beautiful in their own skin with all of this? And like, there's so much pressure from this beauty industry and like sports. I was having this conversation with a friend recently, and like skating, gymnastics, all these different things. Like, there's a lot of pressure put on these young girls' bodies. And then we've got social media. And then we've got
Mhm.
these editing things now. And I just saw one that like actually really scared me. I was like,
Yeah, the one you sent me.
yes, that one. It was just like, it was a PSA about it. Like, it was
Mhm.
just like this lady being like, just so you guys are aware. So I guess that's why I want to talk about it. I want you guys to be aware that these things exist. And if you're comparing yourself to these people on social media, my God, like, don't.
Well, and
Don't.
I feel like that's the era we're going into, is not comparing anyone but ourselves. Like that's
That's
what
the goal
I
of this
strive for.
podcast anyway.
Yeah, like for me, I try to be better than the version of myself than I was yesterday or 5 years ago or 10 years ago. Like I constantly am my own cheerleader and I'm trying to make that little girl in me proud, like that 5 or 6 year old in me super proud. Like that is my goal, is to make her so happy and so proud of who I am. And I know pride and ego can get caught up in there, but I find when we take it from an innocence perspective, we're not using it for evil or bad. We're using it for good and to become a better human being is
But it
just
sucks that people can even perceive just trying to take care of yourself in a healthy way as negative.
Well,
You know what I
I
mean?
got a lot of hate for it. Like when I did that healing or that health program with health pillars, I got like a lot of people called me a crackhead again because I was getting skinny. And I was like completely not embarrassed, but just like,
But like,
I,
people shouldn't be commenting on other people's bodies. Like, I truly believe that. And I know that's not a thing that is like shared. Like, I've had conversations with people and they just think I'm freaking crazy. And I'm like, but like, I've had my body commented on.
mhm,
And it's
or
like, screw
women.
you guys. Actually, I've had my body commented on since I was a kid because of how tiny
Mhm.
I am. Like, I'm not a very tall person. But like,
Oh, yeah.
eventually it was, what?
The gross stuff that people have said to you.
Yeah, like, I get,
Yeah.
ooh, punched the mic straight up that time. Just straight up sucker punched it. Um,
Tell
but
us how
yeah,
you
like,
really feel.
you get really creepy shit said to you, and it's like, come on, guys. Like, why do we gotta be commenting on people's bodies? Like,
Literally.
you think that person doesn't know they're carrying an extra couple pounds? Or you think that that person hasn't had it beaten into their head that their hair's not perfect, or maybe they don't wear enough makeup, or like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for me, it was people thinking that their words are the worst things that they've said to them, and it's like, "Pfft, you haven't been inside this mind. I've said much worse things to myself than you could ever say."
Yeah, I think that was the realization for me too, was like, holy shit, man, nobody's harder on me than myself. So like, now when people like say stuff, I try to be like, why are they saying this?
Well, now we can see it's a reflection of what they're feeling or what they see or what they want to
Like,
perceive us
how
as.
shitty are you feeling today? Because this seems like it might not be about me.
Well, and that's like
Right?
for me, that was like my that is how I am able to receive criticism and receive people's opinions now
Mhm.
because it literally shows me more about how you feel and what you're going through than what it says about me, because those words did not come out of my mouth. Those
No.
words came out of your mouth.
And it doesn't mean it doesn't sting at first. Like when it first
Mhm.
gets said, you have to take a moment to be like, wait a second.
Ground, center myself.
Yeah, why is this bothering me? And two, why did you feel the need to say it?
Mhm. Yeah,
Right? And like,
I do the little girl thing. I'll like if something's bothering me or I'm like feeling irritated, I'm I do like the go sit in the corner moment. I'll either just go take a minute to myself and ask myself questions. Why? Why
mm,
am I feeling like this? And just do the little girl thing and just be like the super annoying kid going, why? But why? But why? And when
you
you
gotta
do
ask
that to
yourself that.
yourself,
Yeah.
literally, but when you do that to yourself, you're like, why am I feeling like this? And then you sit there for a minute, you're like, okay, but why is that happening? Okay. But really, where's that stemming from?
And you
And
have a
then
moment where you realize something and you're like, you're screwed up for a couple days.
you're just like, oh my God, I've been
That's where that
reflecting
came
off of
from.
that. And I think that's
Um,
what's so beauty. Like, oh, it's just the most beautiful thing about this self reflection is just healing over
mhm,
and over and over again. And as you go further along, less things hold you down and drag you down and anchor you there. You
yeah.
are able to cut that anchor off and sail and float away.
You still have shitty weeks like we did this week, but like you're just
It's
able to
hard.
handle them slightly better, I think,
Yep.
and maybe not start screaming at people like I almost did. But
Or
we
just
are
want to
getting
hide.
really close to the end here. So do you want to
Yeah.
do the honors of closing it or
No, you can.
I can? Okay. Do you have anything you want to add before I do that though? Because you looked like you wanted to say something else.
No, no.
You good? All right.
Yeah.
We're if we keep talking, we're gonna go for 2 hours, so we kind of got to shut it off somewhere. Uh, so we'll see you guys next time. We hope you enjoyed it. We had a great time talking, and this is a new thing we're trying with the tarot card, and we've really liked it so far. So doesn't mean we won't be doing other things, but when things aren't feeling right and they're a little sluggish, we'll probably pull out the tarot deck. We hope to see you guys next time, and yeah. Ciao, I guess.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye bye.